If I wanted to know, like, exactly who you are, I wouldn't give you a personality test.
Oh, really? What would you do instead?
I would walk right into your living room and just stare at that wobbly stack of books on your coffee table.
Oh, yeah. That is incredibly revealing.
Right. Forget those clinical, neat little graphs that try to plot you as a introvert or some kind of analytical thinker.
You never capture the whole picture anyway.
Exactly. I mean, the most accurate map of someone's mind is just that completely unfiltered, slightly messy pile of things they are currently trying to process.
Yeah, it's almost like catching someone's brain mid-thought.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Because a stack of books, or, I mean, even just the open tabs on your browser right now.
Oh, don't look at my tabs.
Right, but it isn't just a random assortment of media. It's this physical record of human curiosity at a highly specific moment in time.
Which honestly brings us perfectly to the mission for today's deep dive.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too.
Hmm.
Because we aren't analyzing, a dry research paper or pulling apart a news article today.
No, we have something way more interesting.
We really do. We are looking at a single, everyday photograph.
Just one picture.
Just one. It's an image of 11 books, and they're stacked incredibly precariously on this glass-topped coffee table.
And you can see, like, the setting around it, too.
Yeah, off to the right, there's just a mundane pair of salt and pepper grinders.
Right, just sitting there.
And underneath the table, you can actually see the reflection of the bottom book in the glass.
And then blurred out below that, on a lower shelf, there are even more books.
And maybe some board games. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, it just feels incredibly lived in.
Totally. It feels like we just, pulled up a chair in someone's dining room.
And we are going to perform a sort of literary archaeological dig here.
Exactly. We're going to read this specific stack from the bottom all the way to the top.
Just to see what kind of story it tells.
Because the way we layer information is deeply, deeply revealing.
Oh, for sure. You build a foundation. Right, then you add complexity.
You throw in some distractions.
Yeah, and eventually you reach the current fixation at the very top of the pile.
Right. So as we work our way up this specific tower, I want you, the person listening to this right now, to imagine your own stack.
Oh, that's a good exercise.
Yeah, think about it. If we sneaked into your house and analyzed the books on your nightstand, what narrative would they reveal?
It might be a little scary for some people.
Probably. But let's start at the base of this one. Every towering stack needs a sturdy foundation, right?
Definitely.
And the book that is literally carrying the weight of all the others here has this crisp white spine with black text.
And the title is How Zoologists Organize Things by David Bainbridge.
Which is almost too on the nose for the base of a knowledge stack, don't you think?
Oh, completely. I mean, that book dives super deep into the history of taxonomy.
Right, the science of categorizing stuff.
Exactly. It traces how human beings have spent literally centuries attempting to classify, label, and impose order onto the absolute chaos of the natural world.
Because nature is messy.
It's incredibly messy. You have everything from Aristotle, back in the day, trying to group animals by whether or not they had blood.
Wait, really? That was his system?
Yeah. To Carl Linnaeus in the 1700s finalizing the binomial nomenclature system.
What system?
The two-name system, like Homo sapiens or Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, got it.
It's basically all about our desperate psychological need to put things in clearly defined boxes.
Well, the placement of that book specifically makes me think about the table itself.
The glass table, how so?
Yeah. That bottom book is pressing right into a glass coffee table.
Right.
And to me, how zoologists organize things operates exactly like that glass table.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. It represents the rigid, highly structured, transparent framework that human beings build.
To try and hold everything up.
Exactly. To hold up the messy, heavy, complicated realities of the actual world sitting directly above it.
Yeah, we invent categories so the sheer volume of information doesn't just crash to the floor.
Perfectly said.
Because you can't navigate a world you haven't defined.
No, you really can't.
Naming an animal or a plant, that is essentially the first step in claiming mastery over it.
Right.
But, and this is where it gets interesting, the transition from organizing the world to dominating it is a really dangerous leap.
Oh, absolutely.
And that danger is perfectly captured by the very next book resting right on top of it.
Yeah, let's look at that one. It's a dark purple spine.
In the Shadow of the Machine by Jeremy Nadler.
A pretty heavy title.
It is. Nadler's book explores the spiritual and the psychological cost of the Industrial Revolution and the technological age.
So we're moving from nature to tech.
Exactly. He argues that by mechanizing our world, we haven't just created convenient tools.
Right, it's bigger than that.
Way bigger. We fundamentally altered our relationship with nature and with ourselves. We go straight from humanity confidently categorizing the natural world in that bottom book.
The zoology one.
Yeah, to humanity suddenly being dwarfed and overshadowed by its own artificial creations in the second one.
It's basically the Frankenstein trajectory.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. We build the organizational framework, we use that knowledge to build the machine, and now, well, the machine is casting this giant shadow over us.
It really is.
It sets a rather intense, oppressive mood for the base of this stack, doesn't it?
It does, but an oppressive foundation usually prompts a reaction.
What do you mean?
Well, when the systems we build, whether they're taxonomic classifications or industrial machines, when they fail to capture the full breadth of the human experience,
Which they always do.
right, we inevitably seek out the things that completely defy neat categorization.
Oh, I see. Which launches us directly into the middle of the stack.
And it is a wildly chaotic visual shift.
It totally is. We leave the neat boxes of zoology and machinery behind and just hit this colorful, erratic section.
Yes, sitting right on top of the machine book is this bright, almost fluorescent yellow spine.
Laughing Matters by Lee Siegel.
Yes. And above that is a thin blue spine called The Same Sea by Amos Oz.
And then directly above that is honestly the most visually aggressive book in the entire photograph.
It really stands out.
It's this incredibly thick white spine, and the title is just one word in massive monolithic black typography, ICE by Jake Dukas.
A huge book.
And finally, sandwiched on top of that massive block is a painfully thin, squeezed-in little spine.
The Incomplete Pogo by Walt Kelly.
Yes. So how do you read this messy middle section?
Well, this section reads like a collision of uncontrollable forces.
Okay, break that down for me.
Take The Same Sea. It's a deeply poetic, really complex novel about the shifting, messy currents of human emotion and memory.
Right, the sea as emotion.
Exactly. And then you have ICE, which is this monumental Polish science fiction novel.
I've heard it's intense.
It's an alternate history where a massive supernatural Siberian winter literally freezes Europe, fueled by extraterrestrial minerals.
Wow. Okay, so that is literally uncontrollable.
Exactly. These books represent vast, imposing realities, the sea and the ice.
Yeah.
These are the brutal, elemental forces that machines just can't fully master, and zoologists can't put into a small box.
Okay, I understand reading the sea and the ice as these massive, uncontrollable elements.
Right.
But I am going to push back hard on reading this whole section as some gloomy meditation on the overwhelming forces of nature.
Oh, why is that?
Because you are skipping right over the yellow spine and the tiny spine squeezed at the top.
The comic strip and the humor book.
Exactly. The Incomplete Pogo is a vintage collection of a daily comic strip featuring talking animals in a swamp.
True.
And Laughing Matters is a book dissecting the cultural mechanics of humor. You can't just group those in with a supernatural Siberian winter.
Well, maybe not directly.
To me, sneaking a comic book and an essay on comedy into this otherwise super heavy intellectual stack proves something totally different.
Which is?
That true human curiosity refuses to be crushed by the weight of the world.
I see what you're saying. But I wouldn't call humor a refusal to be crushed, so much as the very mechanism that prevents the crushing.
Oh, interesting. Say more about that.
Look at the philosophical breakdown of humor. There's the incongruity theory, which suggests we laugh when there is a mismatch between our expectations and reality.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's the relief theory, which Freud actually championed.
How does that one argue?
It argues that laughter is a release of built-up psychological tension.
Ah, I get it.
So when you are trapped in the shadow of the machine, or you're facing the relentless emotional tides of the same sea...
You need a release valve.
Exactly. Humor is the evolutionary tool that vents the pressure. It's not a distraction from the heavy elements of the stack.
It's a survival tactic.
Yes. It is the survival tactic required to navigate them.
Wow. You know, when you put it like that, the physical placement of the bright yellow spine, Laughing Matters, makes literal sense.
Because of where it sits.
Yeah, it's acting as a visual buffer.
It really is.
It sits exactly between the heavy oppressive machinery below it and the massive, cold, uncontrollable forces of nature right above it.
Laughter's the padding.
Laughter's the padding.
The mind needs shock absorbers.
Yeah.
Without the ability to find absurdity in our existence, the sheer weight of reality, which is represented visually by that massive blocky typography of ICE pressing down,
Right, that book looks incredibly heavy.
it would be paralyzing without humor.
And poor little Pogo, the comic strip is just barely surviving, squished right on top of that massive block of ice.
Just holding on.
Which is funny because Walt Kelly's Pogo was actually famous for its sharp political satire disguised as a funny animal strip.
Right, it had a lot of layers.
Huge layers.
Yeah.
It was tackling McCarthyism and the Cold War while pretending to just be about a possum in the Okefenokee swamp.
That's brilliant.
It's the perfect visual representation of finding a subversive laugh while navigating a brutally cold, harsh world.
And that forces us to ask what comes next.
Right, what do you do after you survive the cold?
Once you've attempted to organize nature, built your machines, and used humor to survive the emotional and environmental extremes.
How do humans actually go about moving forward?
Exactly. How do we shape the future out of all that chaos?
Well, you bring in the heavyweights.
The thinkers and the doers.
Exactly. Just above the comic strip, the stack takes this turn into deep historical gravity.
Visually, it gets very solid here.
Yeah, we have a thick magenta spine. A Comparative History of Ideas by Hajime Nakamura.
A major work.
And resting directly on top of that is the absolute physical anchor of the entire stack.
It's huge.
It is a brick-like dark blue spine. Is David McCullough's Pulitzer Prize-winning biography, Truman.
The physical weight of this section is impossible to ignore. I mean, the Truman biography is over 1,000 pages long.
It's massive.
It easily dominates the visual space of the photograph.
Which is why the juxtaposition of these two specific titles is so striking to me.
How so?
Think about it. Placing a massive biography of one single guy right on top of a book covering the entire history of human ideas. Yeah. It feels like a very deliberate statement about how the world actually works.
Oh, I see.
Because Nakamura's book is this sweeping academic comparison of how Eastern and Western civilizations developed their core philosophies over thousands of years.
Right, it's abstract.
Very abstract. And then sitting right on top of millennia of abstract philosophy is Harry S. Truman.
A pragmatist from Missouri.
Exactly. It's the great man theory of history in physical form.
It argues that sweeping philosophies don't change the world.
No. Singular individuals making incredibly heavy decisions do.
You're hitting on the core tension there.
Yeah.
A comparative history of ideas provides the intellectual bedrock. It's the slow, centuries-long accumulation of logic, ethics, and societal norms.
Right.
But philosophy doesn't sign executive orders.
No, it doesn't.
Philosophy doesn't desegregate the armed forces, and it certainly doesn't make the call to drop an atomic bomb.
Wow. Yeah.
Those are the brutal, pragmatic, world-altering choices of a single human being in a highly specific moment in time.
It's the ultimate reality check. It really is.
It's like the ideas are just these theories floating in the ether until someone like Truman comes along, drops 1,000-page brick on the table and says, this is how we are actually applying this today, whether you like it or not.
That's exactly it. By placing Truman squarely on top of Nakamura's work, the stack visually suggests that all abstract thought ultimately funnels into concrete action.
Right.
The physical thickness of the Truman book illustrates just how much space a single human life, armed with executive power, can occupy in the grand scheme of history.
It's where the abstract becomes agonizingly real.
Exactly. Agonizingly real.
But, you know, the human experience doesn't end with historical consequence.
No, it doesn't.
Once we get past Truman, the entire vibe of this stack changes again.
We reach the pinnacle.
Yes. The top 3 books.
And this transition is absolutely vital because history, survival, and philosophy, they're ultimately just the prerequisites for culture.
Oh, I love that. So, resting right on top of Truman's heavy political reality, we have a white spine with blue lettering. Saxophone Colossus. The Life and Music of Sonny Rollins by Aidan Levy.
Right. And above that, a beautiful light blue and white spine with an ornate mosaic pattern.
Alexandria. The City That Changed the World by Islam Issa.
And finally, sitting all alone at the very peak of the stack, the classic, unmistakable black spine with white text of a Penguin classic.
The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas.
I mean, just look at that top section.
Notice the shift in the language of the titles themselves.
What do you mean?
We've completely abandoned the strict taxonomy of the bottom layer.
Oh, yeah.
We are no longer trying to categorize biological life or build machines. We are dealing with sheer thematic grandeur.
Right.
We have a Colossus, we have the ancient mythic weight of the city of Alexandria, and we have a count.
It feels like a musical crescendo.
Yes.
Or like a massive exhale.
That's a good way to put it.
Think about the journey of this stack.
Yeah.
We started at the very bottom, meticulously organizing zoological categories.
Very rigid.
Then we fought our way through the industrial machinery. We navigated the freezing ice and the stormy seas.
We used a comic strip to keep our sanity.
Exactly. And then we debated the sweeping history of ideas versus the blunt force of an American president.
It's exhausting.
It is. And having survived all of that heavy lifting, we reached the top. We finally have free time.
We can finally breathe.
We're listening to jazz with a saxophone colossus. We're exploring the legendary lost libraries and streets of ancient Alexandria.
And at the very peak,
We escape entirely into the epic, sweeping revenge fiction of the Count of Monte Cristo. This top section represents the ultimate freedom of the mind.
it aligns perfectly with the broader arc of human development, too.
How so?
Art, myth, and storytelling, those are the rewards of civilization.
Yes.
Let's look at Saxophone Colossus for a second. Sonny Rollins famously took a sabbatical at the absolute height of his fame in the late 1950s.
Really? Why?
He felt his playing was becoming repetitive, so he just vanished from the clubs. He spent his days practicing alone on the Williamsburg Bridge in New York.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
That is a pursuit of pure, abstract, artistic perfection. But you cannot appreciate the brilliance of Sonny Rollins' saxophone improvisations
Right.
or the historical romance of Alexandria as a melting pot of ancient knowledge if you haven't first secured your foundation.
Oh, that makes total sense. You do the zoology so you can read the Dumas.
Exactly.
Because the Count of Monte Cristo is the ultimate escapist fantasy.
It really is.
I mean, Edmond Dantes is wrongly imprisoned, spends years meticulously planning his escape from the Chateau d'If, finds a hidden treasure, and completely reinvents himself to take down his enemies.
It is pure, unadulterated narrative joy.
It is. To place that at the very top of the stack means the reader has waded through the dense reality of the world and is now choosing to let their imagination run completely wild.
It's the evolution of a curious mind mapped out in 11 steps.
11 books.
From the concrete desire to categorize the natural world, climbing through the messy realities of technology, emotion, and historical conflict.
All the way up to the peak of cultural and artistic expression.
The mind goes to the top of the stack to play and to engage with larger-than-life legends.
It really is a brilliant map of an eclectic, hungry intellect. Just reading the spines from bottom to top creates this beautiful narrative thread.
It really validates the idea that we can learn so much about a person just by looking at how they curate the information around them.
It underscores a truth we often overlook, I think.
Which is?
The physical objects you choose to surround yourself with are in dialogue with each other.
Oh, 100%. The book on the bottom of the pile is secretly informing the way you read the book on the top.
Which brings us back to you, the listener, right now.
Oh, right. Back to your own stack.
Take a look at the physical or digital space around you. Think about the books piled up on your nightstand.
Or the podcasts in your queue.
Yeah, or the last 10 tabs you left open on your browser. They aren't just isolated pieces of media.
No, they are a highly specific portrait of your current interests.
They're talking to each other, building a framework of exactly where your head is at right this second.
Because the human mind is rarely focused on just one thing. We are all managing our own internal stacks,
Trying to balance it all.
constantly trying to balance our need to understand the heavy realities of the world with our deep-seated need for entertainment, humor, and art.
So here is the question for you to mull over as you go about the rest of your day.
Prepare yourself.
If a complete stranger were to walk into your room right now, take a photograph of the last 11 things you read, watched, or listened to, and stack them up from bottom to top.
What hidden narrative would that stack reveal about your mind today?
Are you currently living down in the foundational stage, trying to build a rigid framework to understand your life?
Or are you stuck in the messy middle, relying on humor to survive the elements?
Or maybe, are you currently living way up at the Count of Monte Cristo peak, escaping into myth, revenge, and art?
You might just be surprised by what your own unfiltered landscape looks like.
You really might.